Hello, my name is Matthew Kahn. Um, this is my first capstone overview video. Um, Today, I'm going to cover three kind of key concepts of the project. The first of which being the importance of the project, a brief overview, kind of background of the technology being innovated and how, and why it's relevant to a real manufacturing industry and marketplace. Also, I want to talk about the design a little bit, some design choices I'll have to make along the way, what I'm doing to postpone having to make those decisions early on. And then I'll discuss my architecture a bit and how I'm kind of splitting up the responsibilities of the software system amongst different software components. So I'll start with the importance. I've kind of outlined some key points here on a whiteboard. One moment. Oh, I have to keep my computer plugged in here. Okay. So first of all, I have a little bit of a diagram explaining the importance. Did not realize that on a webcam this was gonna all show up backwards. So bear with me. I guess I'll kind of explain. Traditionally, we've used a trial and error or tribal knowledge-based saddle design model, trying to move to a data-driven saddle design model in the bicycle industry. I'm going to start by using Rachel's data to innovate saddles, and then we'll start looking at querying data after the project for other components and in with more attributes and in greater depth. Moving on to the design, also backwards. Key concepts here, if you can read it, is I'm developing basically two database architectures in parallel. One is my primary choice and one is my secondary choice. You see here from the branches, this is the primary choice, and this one back here is the secondary choice. My secondary choice is a combination of MySQL, PHP, my PHP admin, HTML, utilizing a Tomcat-based web server, which is an open source web server. What I would rather do, that is the design method we learned in our internet programming course in the CSIT program. What I would rather do is a newer kind of architecture featuring a Tomcat open source server, maybe an in-house specialized server eventually, running an Apache web server software, also open source. There's an Apache sub-project supported by Apache web server software called Derby. It's the Derby database architecture, and that's what I would like to use. The Derby database architecture can talk to JDBC Java library within a Java-based UI, and I'll issue embedded SQL scripts to communicate with the Apache server using the Derby database architecture. So my main design decision to make is between MySQL, PHP design model and architecture, or the Derby database design model and architecture. Derby database design model and architecture is my primary choice for the simple reason that my strongest programming language is Java, and I feel like it will be a dynamic solution that I can make new custom queries as data changes to gather engineering insights. I feel like I could do it quicker with this Derby database architecture. As far as the architecture, kind of a visual, backwards visual, which is awesome. I have two things here. I have a UI in this lower box over here, this one. And then I have a Tomcat server up here, which is a web server, HTML server. The Tomcat server will have Apache Web Server software installed, running. And then I'll use Derby database architecture from the Apache web server software. And then I will, in my UI, use Java and JDBC. And then I use the JDBC library to use HTML, SQL scripts to communicate with the Derby database architecture embedded in Apache. So this will allow for HTML, PHP, SQL, CSS scripts to be embedded in a Java-based application UI. This gives me a lot of functionality. With my end product, I feel like it supports a lot of architectures, a lot of different languages. I can build a web-based application, or I can just build a little Java UI off of the Apache server, which will have the RayTool data. Thanks for listening. Hopefully my next presentation won't be backwards. I'll try a PowerPoint or something instead. Thanks for taking the time.